You're watching the PlantX Vodcast. Join us as we explore the inner workings of all things plant-based and all things PlantX, from the products and lifestyles to the people behind them. Now welcome our host, the man who combined his love of e-commerce and the plant-based lifestyle to create PlantX, Sean Dollinger.
Welcome to the PlantX Vodcast. Thank you so much for joining us today. And, welcome. Thanks again to our shareholders, investors, customers who believe in PlantX and support us and join us each week. John Greaves from Peter Ruby that we acquired a little while back. He says, everybody is separated by 6 degrees of separation, which means if we share the word of PlantX just to 6 people, believe it or not, if those 6 people go ahead and share it again and those 6 people share it again, the word will travel quite quick. And obviously we wouldn't have 10,000 plus shareholders if it wasn't for us going ahead and spreading the message, getting it out there, what PlantX is all about. But you guys joining us each week, we had over a few hundred views. And if you could go ahead and share the PlantX story, I think we could really get people understanding what we're really, truly creating here at PlantX. Today, we were invited on CBC to share a little bit about the Rideau Center in Ottawa. And, with the weather being cold over there and the trucking situation, we finally have opened up our doors, a grand opening over there. And thank you very much to Sharif, who's been a supporter. Again, following us on these vodcasts and seeing what we're all about and going ahead and using his contacts to help us get a prime spot on CBC to share about PlantX. And it was about 10 minutes of prime time and being able to go ahead and tell everybody about the X Market store in the Rideau Center. So for any investors or viewers or customers who are watching today, please encourage people to go in. The lattes, all made with oat milk or almond milk, alternatives to dairy, of course, and let them go experience what PlantX is all about. And on that note, we love to start the show off by explaining a little bit what PlantX is all about. We're your one-stop shop for everything plant-based. So if you're looking for meal delivery, plant-based cosmetics, plant-based groceries delivered to your doorstep, it's really easy. Just go on plantx.ca or plantx.com. And we now have same-day delivery in Toronto, Ottawa, Chicago, LA, Las Vegas, and the list continues to grow with over 10,000 products globally. There's pretty much something out there for everyone. And today we have a very interesting guest, Chief Community Officer of the Forager Project. And they have so many different products. And I'm really excited for you to meet Maude, because really at PlantX, we're a community. That's really what we try to drive home, creating like-minded individuals who want to learn about plant-based living. And I think as time's gone on, we've been able to bring guests on the vodcast to help people truly understand what PlantX is all about and the direction we're heading. Maude, welcome to the show.
Hi, Sean. Thanks for having me.
Hey, thanks so much. And it was great catching up before, and love your energy, love your vision and everything that you guys are doing over there. But before we jump in, we like to start off our podcasts by asking our guests how they take their coffee.
Okay, well, I take it 2 ways. When I'm out, it's a soy latte. And when I'm home making my own, it's a soy cafe au lait. I'm a soy fan.
And soy's having a comeback moment, I find, out there. A lot of places are having it as the alternative on the menus. Definitely oat milk is what I've experienced. Definitely taking the lead away from almond milk originally. But soy milk, I know a lot of people who are starting to explore it again.
Yeah, which I find very exciting. We launched a soy milk back in around September. And it's a product that I was very excited to get back out there, because I do think there's a lot of misconceptions about soy. So
yeah, that's exactly it. Education, and that goes a little bit with community building and education and all of that. What was the driving force behind developing, an organic plant-based business? We've had a lot of guests on, and I've met a lot of people in the industry, and that word organic, it's not an easy one.
no, it's not. I think just really understanding or believing that plants are a way to planet health and to, feeding so many people. And then also organic practices. They are the thing that regenerates soil. And, we've only got so much soil. It's a finite resource and you can build it, but we just love that that's a great way to help, preserve the planet.
Yeah, and I think it's really important because I'm a true believer. You put products in your body just because they're plant-based. One, obviously doesn't mean they're healthy. And number two, if they're not organic, are you doing your body justice? So I think that's a great initiative on your guys' side. And I believe, a bit of your background growing up had some of that organic twist to it.
It definitely did. As we were talking before the show, I was really lucky to grow up with a mom. She was from a generation where the family, they had victory gardens. And so they always grew up with a kitchen garden. And we were the same at my home. And she was very into organic being a better for you proposition, better for the planet. You're not using, toxic or persistent chemicals. And especially when you're doing stuff at home, it's just I think the food, people always comment on the food tasting better. So it's something that's been with me my whole life and I've been passionate about my whole life. And so it's exciting to have an opportunity with Forager Project to share that with others and give people the access to that. Because what you were saying at the beginning of the show, I just think is so true. If people share with others and people then have an opportunity to learn things they don't know or have that conversation and try things they might not have tried. So, I mean, that's another reason why I'm excited to be here with you, because it's spreading the word. It's spreading the good news.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. And organic, I find the smaller batches, the love that goes into it, somehow, some way it does make the food taste better. I'm a strong believer in that. And perhaps you could share with our viewers today how you got involved with Forager Project.
Sure. So I have known our founder, multiple founders, but our CEO and co-founder, Stephen Williamson, we worked together years ago at Odwalla Juice Company. And it ended up being bought by Coca-Cola, and we ended up going kind of different directions, but we spent a good 10 years together there. And it's just something Stephen and I have always had a shared, I think, connection on creativity, philosophy, and food, and those things kind of coming together. And so, it was very exciting to reconnect with Stephen after not working together for a while, when he had this vision of like starting this food company. And he just felt like, hey, I see room in this space to do better. And I see room in this space. We started as a fresh pressed juice company, which a lot of people at this point don't know. He also felt the space could use organics, because that was still very limited, back in 2013. So that's how we got started over here.
Yeah, and I know I shared with you a little earlier in the show today when I heard that story. PlantX owns a company we're extremely excited about being part of, Little West, founded by Cassandra Troy Walker and Andrew Walker, and their products are unbelievable. And they just have this passion, but same kind of path that you were speaking about. There was this pulp being left over. And Cassandra said one of the reasons she really wanted to start working with PlantX at the end of the day was to really, use these products and find the next path forward. Like you said, pulp chips and all these different alternatives. So it's amazing how you start in one direction and it seems to take you into a different direction. But, sounds like you guys are doing great. I know that you've successfully been in business since, 2013, family run, operator owned business. Could you share some of the challenges that you guys faced with that along the way?
I don't know if we have enough time to cover them all. It's really hard to do food, and it's really hard to do food that you're selling on scale, right? And so there's always challenges. There's challenges with supply chain. There's challenges with you can come up with something in your test kitchen, and we're definitely more of a chef's sort of perspective on food than, say, a sciencey perspective on food. And then scaling that up, going from like the test kitchen into commercialization is no easy feat. Making sure you have the funding, all about this with your background, Sean, like making sure you have all the funding you need to kind of keep going and help you ride the highs and the lows. It's super, super challenging, but it's also exciting because, and something we've done that a lot of people in the space, at least back in the, when we started, didn't own their own production facility. And that's something that Stephen and our team really worked really hard to build. And, people might say, oh, you're doing this, you have a production facility. Well, if you're making, say, a yogurt, that's going to require different, machinery and equipment than the chip operation. And so it's just, making food. And anyone who's a home chef knows it's not just making food, it's making food that's consistent. I saw somebody in the chat ask something about our yogurt. Right now, we're under pressure, supply chain pressures, like a lot of people. And so getting our ingredients, sometimes you have to switch suppliers. You're still meeting your criteria, but, getting steady supply and little things can affect your food. And, I think anyone who cooks at home knows, like, hey, I made my, you were talking about that jackfruit masala when we were earlier. And it's like, to make it exactly the same every time you do it, that's a big challenge too. So those are some of them, but it's like an endless list of challenges, but it's also, I think part of being alive is facing challenges and overcoming ones you don't think that you're going to be able to overcome. And, there's something really gratifying about that. So it's been a hard and bumpy journey. I'm somebody also that prior to Forager Project, I hadn't worked at a startup. And I'm somebody that really likes systems and process and, the list. And at a startup, you have to be more flexible. It's just the nature of the beast is you have to be flexible. You have to be agile. You have to be open or you won't make it.
So it was interesting what you said. You got to be flexible, obviously, on the building and getting these products out there. But tell me more on the consistency of products, because that's something that is sensitive, right, out there. So like you said, you go to a different source perhaps to get an ingredient or anything like that. And when the picture popped up, I'll tell you, my son every single morning with my daughter pops open one of those yogurts and fills it with granola, and they absolutely love it. So they would be pretty upset if all of a sudden the shortages didn't allow them to have that each morning. So maybe you could tell us more about how you make sure that the flavors stay consistent while going out there and sourcing different products.
Yeah, I mean, I think that kudos to our production team because it's not an easy challenge. It's dedication. It's deep experience and understanding of how those things work. And you know what? Some days you do better than others because what I like to remind people is food is alive. If you're eating a fresh perishable product, food is alive. And think about your bananas or your avocados that you go and you get and you're super excited about. And then sometimes they last for a very long time and they're exactly how you like it. And sometimes you're like, wait, why is this why is this brown inside, or why is this spoiling sooner? That's because it's alive and it has its own opinion about things. So what we do is, through our process and planning and just a dedicated team, they do their best to make that, be as consistent as possible, but it's we also have a different philosophy. We're not using a lot. We're doing minimal processing, minimal ingredients as best as we can. And, Stephen, I think, really loves Einstein's quote of like, make things as simple as possible, but no simpler. And he's like, people always forget the last half of that line. Some things are more complicated than we want them to be. So we try not to overcomplicate. We try to follow nature's lead. And we have a lot of skilled people on our team that are working hard to try to achieve that perfect
Awesome.
cup of yogurt. Yeah.
And tell us a little bit more about how Stephen comes up with ideas for these new products to go out there. Like I was discussing at the start of our show today, we have guests on or founders on who focus on alternative dairy, alternative meat. And when I went on your website and started looking at the variety of products, it was mind-blowing. Forget about dominating one space. It seems like you're really dominating a whole bunch of different categories. And when I look at your products, these are familiar products. Like, it's not like one of these I haven't even seen, like these are mainline products already. How do you decide what direction to go next? What product comes out?
Yeah, Stephen is an extremely creative person. And I think we have a lot of team members that have that creative part of their personality. And we all eat, right? It's something we share with, most living creatures need food, and us humans, more so than some others. And he's just, Stephen grew up in the Bay Area. He went to school in Berkeley. He was exposed to the food scene in Berkeley that really, I think, further inspired him. And he cooks at home. And, we have a few people that have been with us on the product development side that, again, their background is chefs and home cooks. And so it's just going, hey, this area, there's an opportunity, or this category, I wish it had X, Y, or Z. And that seems like something that we could do. And he dreams a lot. We have a weekly meeting that's called the Dreaming Team. And I feel really lucky that I get to sit on that because I'm not part of the product group, but where it's just like what, people are thinking about. Oh, I had this thing. Is that something we could do? And then you work with the rest of your team members, including like our really awesome sales group to go, hey, what are retailers telling us that they'll take? Because again, there's what you like and there's what you're excited about, but you also have to then get somebody to, hold space for you. So, and that's something that I actually, when we were talking earlier too, that you're doing, creating another space, and more people are shopping online now. And so there's more and more opportunities for that. But that's, it's just having creative people trying stuff. And, sometimes we try stuff and it doesn't work. So.
Yeah, some people think that everything works automatically, right? But it's a lot of hard work. It's dreaming, like you said. And it's so funny, the overlaps between our two companies. We actually have a dream team meeting once a week as well. And it's with the retail innovation side of things. So it's just so funny. And I find when you look at successful companies, one big thing, and I'm going to share something with our viewers today that I haven't shared before. I'm a huge believer in email. So we CC everybody as a group in email. And we had a consultant come in once who was advising on a business deal. And he goes, Sean, did you ever work at Google? And I go, no. And he goes, believe it or not, Google and their teams make sure that every person CCs themselves on every single email, because if there's phone calls, things are missed. But if it's all in a group email and everybody's forced to read it, it really gets your mind thinking outside the box. And it's proven to be extremely successful and allows us to move at an extremely rapid rate at PlantX. So, just wanted to share that with you. And before we jump into a couple more questions, which I'd love to focus a little bit on community on the later part of our interview today, at PlantX, we're just so thankful that people join us every single week to listen to this podcast. So please feel free to ask questions, give feedback, positive, negative, anything that we could do better here at PlantX. We're always trying to improve, get to the next level, and your time's extremely valuable. And we want to make sure you're getting everything out of each show. Maude has taken time out of her day to join us live, and it's not every day we have somebody from the Forager Project here sharing with us. So please feel free to jump in and ask away. And in the US, we'll go ahead and ship out Little West juices, and exciting news, we'll ship in Canada Little West juices as well, starting April the 1st. So feel free to give feedback and be one of the first in Canada to try Little West juices. So Maude, maybe we could speak a little bit about the community side. Like I said, we started here at PlantX more than just a platform. We believe that this is a community, and meeting people like you. And you said, something that, again, really stuck with me when we started speaking earlier today was you said, Sean, I don't typically do this, but the passion and the alignment, with different companies out there and the space we're in, you said you were ready to come and share, and I felt your passion. And we see this in our community, how tight it is, how everybody wants to help one another. Nobody's hoping that anybody fails. And as the platform, we want you to come out with hundreds of products so that we could get them out to happy consumers and customers around North America and the world eventually. I know your community is extremely successful over at the Forager Project. Perhaps you could share with our viewers a little bit about that.
Sure. Well, first, I do want to thank you, because I think I love discovering some of these parallels. That's really interesting to me. And it's really nice because you're creating an opportunity for people to come together. And I just really want to commend you for that, because it takes your time and your energy and being on, every time you do this, and thinking of what you're, people that are viewing, what is going to be interesting to them and how to include them. And I think, for us, really, until maybe 2 years ago, if you were reaching out to Forager Project to talk to somebody, you were talking to me. If it was on Instagram, if it was on Facebook, if it was on email. I had one of my colleagues, Laron, was very kind and would take the phone calls. But overall, it was Maude. It would be somebody. Sometimes people are like, they ping you on, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, email, and it's like, it's me again. Yep. Are we good? It's not a new problem, right? Or it's, thanks for reaching out again and telling us this exciting thing. And I think really taking the time, we don't use a lot of automation in the way we interact with our community, other than like Facebook telling you, hey, we're not here right now. You're speaking to a live person. There's not a bot behind there, and it's a lot more time consuming. Some people would argue it's inefficient, but if someone's taken the time to buy our product or to reach out to us, I want them to feel like I want them to know that we really care that they did that. We're not here if they're not there, and if someone's taking time to share their perspective on something, whether it's a good thing or a critical thing or an upset thing, there's always an opportunity for you to learn from that. And so we're just really so grateful for the people that do take time to do that. And we also just love the idea of going, hey, we think a certain way, but there's so much to learn. There's so many different points of view. If I can, I'll share like a really quick story about where I learned about perspective. I was at a dinner table with two other people, and one of them was my son and the other person was his dad. And we were looking at a plate, and I just thought this was so brilliant. And I've thought about it. It's been years since this happened. My son was very little, trying to explain that people have different points of view. And there was one communal plate of food in front of us, and Shahe, my ex, he said, "Hey, describe what's in front of you to my son." So he describes it, and he said, "Okay, now your mom's going to describe what's in front of her. Now I'm going to describe what's in front of me." We're all looking at the same plate of food, but just by the sheer fact that we're sitting in different seats, we see it differently. So if the potatoes are to your right, they're to my left, or, they're in front of me. And I just thought it really was like a great lesson for me that people can come to us and have a point of view, and they're seeing something that we don't see. And how special is it that we get to see that? And how special is it that we have the opportunity to connect over food with people? So I feel like I went on way too long, but I'm just very passionate about the opportunity to connect with people and build a positive, even when someone's criticizing, to build a space where people can, feel safe to express their point of view.
I love that you shared that with us, and I agree there's a connection with food. I think we're very lucky to all be involved in this space because food, there's a lot tied to it, conversation around a table, the connection of speaking about the enjoyment of a product, tasting something new and wanting to share it. And the different points you hit on, that's one of the reasons we have so many different brands at PlantX. We have PlantX, Bloombox, Little West, and Kelly in our customer service and messaging. She's head of customer service. And originally she goes, "Sean, what does Bloombox have to really do with PlantX or Little West have to do?" And one thing that Alex, our CMO and co-founder of PlantX, taught me along the way was putting together messaging and branding and having a voice for a company. And I'm listening to this, a voice for a company, and even in an email today that came across my desk, Kelly went ahead and when somebody asked them, "How do you respond to this in Google?" she goes to page 14 of the messaging and conversational piece of how the tone should be. A few years back, this would have been like a whole different language for me, and I'm just loving this. So hearing what you're speaking about and it all coming together, and Kelly really coming in and being so passionate about PlantX helps that messaging exactly like you're saying and brings this brand together. So I could see you're speaking from experience, and I think you guys are doing an unbelievable job over there, and keep it up. And we thank you very much from the PlantX family for taking us on as a partner and allowing us to sell your incredible products.
Oh, well, we are so grateful for you and that you're holding space for us over there and allowing us to connect with so many people we wouldn't be able to without you. So it's, really, really appreciate that. And, I think Stephen I'm quoting Stephen all night here, but I really loved one time he described to me that food is a universal language. And I do think that, everyone eats. And so it's just such a great way to connect with others and find common ground and learn new things. And when you're somebody like you who's bringing that opportunity together for people, it's really special, and it's very exciting for me. I think it promotes good stuff.
Thanks for the kind words, Maude. And before we let you go, a bunch of people asked some questions, so hopefully you're all right taking some live ones.
Sure.
And I say the same line you just said: every single person in this world needs to eat. And at the end of the day, that's why I don't even love referring to food as plant-based or whatever title you want to put on it. It's food. So when people tell me, "Oh, the plant-based market is only a few $1 billion," I'm like, oh my God, no, it's not. It's endless, and as people try new and exciting products, what's the trend for people to keep going back to the products they love? We're creatures of habit at the end of the day. So first question for Maude: what is your favorite Forager Project product or flavor?
That's tough. It's somewhat of a mood thing, but I would say for sure a staple for me, which I just really, really love, are drinkable, plain drinkable yogurt. It reminds me of, I feel like my grandma used to drink buttermilk back in the day. I'm old enough that my grandma drank buttermilk at lunch every day, and it reminds me of that. But it's not as heavy, and I just love that it has a little bit of tang. And so that's probably my very top one. But I'm a mood person like a lot of people. Sometimes I want to go in for the vanilla bean yogurt because it feels like I'm getting dessert in the middle of the day. Like I said, I love our soy milk. I'm very passionate about soy, and wanting people to. There's so many advocates for like jackfruit. 20 years ago in this country, I don't think a whole lot of people were talking about jackfruit. And I think it's cool that now people have that excitement. I just don't want them to forget about some of the good old standbys like soy.
Yeah, there's so many different things out there, breadfruit, all these different products coming out. And that's what I love about the industry we're in. The envelope just keeps being pushed on the innovation side of things. Great question by Cassandra. And I asked you this question a little earlier, Maude. So Cassandra, love where your mind's going with this. Curious to know what number of SKUs you're selling. How many different products do you guys have in your arsenal or in your platform?
Cassandra, I'm probably going to fail this like I did with Sean. It's 35 plus. And what I was saying to Sean is the challenge over here is that because we're very innovative, we try things and we put things out there and they go in and not everything makes it. So it comes out. Or the business, we used to have a chip and there's still bags out there selling, but we've had to stop making our chips for production reasons. Not because we didn't want to, but there were some big challenges there that we just couldn't manage. And so it's somewhere like that. And you can also go to our website, and that has a really good display of the different things. We have like 8 different product categories, if that tells you something.
Right.
And then within those 8 different categories, there's a lot of variety. We try to mix it up. And you can go to, www.foragerproject.com to check those out.
And then following up on Cassandra's question, what's the best SKU that you guys currently have?
That's easy. That's our unsweetened plain yogurt is our top one, and it has been pretty much since it came out. I think that the fact that it's so versatile that people can incorporate it into the way, anything they want. Something I've learned through this journey with that particular product is like it's really great in baking. That's something that our vegan enthusiasts, helped us discover. I mean, that's not great for the probiotic quality of that product, but like it really adds a fluff and moistness to your baked goods. But that one definitely top tier.
Awesome. Maude, there's so many great questions today. Unfortunately, we're towards the end of the show, but it'd be great to meet Steven, come visit you guys one day, come check out what you are doing. And again, thanks again from everybody, from our investors and from our whole team on everything you guys are doing and our partnership.
Awesome. Well, Sean, thank you again. Such a privilege to get to spend time chatting with you and, being here with your community. And I'm really honored.
Thanks, and have a great rest of your day.
All right. You too.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Thank you for taking time out of your day to join us here each week. And, Maude, such a great community builder. What they've done over there is create a great following for their products. And I know I brought it up earlier, but my son could run and grab bread or toast or different cereals, and every single morning he goes for that exact popular SKU, the unflavored yogurt, and fills it with his favorite granola from someone else that we've had on the show. So just seeing, these partners coming together and understanding the power of our platform, and for a consumer to come and enjoy one of the Forager Project products and see how great they are, they'll come back for more and more products as we add them to the platform. And that's truly the community that we're creating here at PlantX. This past week, we went ahead and announced that we launched Bloombox Austria today Bloombox France, and the portfolio of websites just keep growing. We also announced same-day delivery in Chicago and Plainfield, and we'll continuously roll those out across North America. This month has been our best month by far on our daily sales numbers that we see consistently keep growing and growing. So again, thank you so much for believing in PlantX. And until next week, stay curious, stay planted, stay healthy.
Thanks for watching the PlantX Vodcast. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. For more information, go to investor.plantx.com. See you next time.